下我的。啊，正在。鱼线中，好的吧。有了，好，有了。
The vessels
不知道怎么跑去你的那个画面
quite normal.
你到我的 YouTube 的那个，你就会看到了。
The air from the lungs carries a faint floral
中毒
aroma.
啦！
对啊，可是你开不是会有一个直播的那个按键可以点吗？
有啊，在我上传影片里面有一些直播中。
There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination so that we can proceed with the autopsy.
没有，你就点我，然后点我的上传影片。
好吧，这也太难找了，所以一进来就看到一个人躺在奇怪的地方，太可怕。
我的验尸啊。
Nothing suspicious here.
Nothing.
No redness, stings, or bruises. Now, let us examine the internal organs.
他该不会要解剖吧？哦，
真假？可以看吗？
哦
我先不要看，那你这段过完之后再跟我讲。
他不是，他这个好不真实哦，好没真实感哦，我是觉得很好笑。
我还是不是很想看那过程。
你可以看一下，其实还好，只是觉得很傻眼而已。
我看到一个心脏了。
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from alcohol addiction. The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
后仔，这肺怎么拿起来太可怕了。
The lungs are congested and edematous.
好好笑
哦。
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant.
不知道这个人一定中毒死的。
The stomach tissues
所以
show
有
no
一块
visible
黑黑的
pathological
中毒
signs.
哦。
There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
为什么胃是绿色的？
My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning.
就是中毒吧。
Poisoning, to be more exact.
对啊，因为刚刚就有失窃的，这个就是那个秋，上次我们玩得到的那个地方，就是秋园那个植物被偷
Yes,
了。
but do
然后还去
remember,
看那些
Watson,
植
that
物
I
都是有
discovered
毒
the
的。
murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge.
所以犯人是被毒死的。
We need to locate that deadly
这个是
plant.
秋园
Such
的
a
主人，他被
perfect
毒死
murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No. We also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs.
我不得不说，福尔摩斯的
Yes,
胡渣好
Watson.
清楚
It is
哦。
time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff.
表示废寝忘
I
食。
suppose that is
可是
necessary.
就是他的胡渣
We should
很有真
also
实
be
感，是吧？
concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
他胡渣很有真实感。哎，怎么出去啊？对，这个。哎 ，Go Go 秋园。好苦，真的是。真是有够久，
Locked.
开门啊，马丁！哇塞，太多问题了。
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
嘿，感觉在说谎了。
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he, why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game?
有半露，
I can only scratch my head and wonder.
戴口罩。
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before. And now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
Bye.
Bye.
As deputy director, how is your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes,
Hi.
it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens. And it was solely to make an impression. Great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that. If you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
对啊，好多问题要问哦。
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say?
Celebrating.
He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly.
热
Mr.
衷
Holmes.
于年轻女士。
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
哇，
Well, I am
法
busy.
身助
I
攻哎，
cannot be everywhere at once.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
会哦，终于跟这个人讲完话了，可以拿钥匙了吧？钥匙。等一下，我觉得一定要一堆问题要问他了，不会吧？
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can
啊
have！them. But I cannot give you the keys
哎，
to
等
the
一下，
cloakroom.
我去拿东
The
西。
employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah. At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
都没有人知道，太扯了吧。
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed. That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Indeed.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again
干
soon.
嘛？哦，
人人有嫌疑哎。
Locked.
进来喽。
Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. French wine. A remarkable vintage.
他们在争权夺利哎。一个花园也能争权夺利，也太厉害了。
Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
花园萝莉是这样。
啊，争权夺利。
哦，
他们在
我听成花园萝莉，
听起来很漂亮啊。
这很萌，听起来很萌。花园萝莉，
嗯，他写的是马丁哈尼斯，培育者是马丁哎。他刚刚不是说他偷窃他的功劳吗？看见这个女生也是蛮有嫌疑的。
A photograph of Montague
你每
Dunn
次玩都
and
说这个
Reynold
好像
Hamish.
很有嫌疑，那个也很有嫌疑，每个都很有嫌疑。
对啊，现在真的是人人都有嫌疑，每个人都有作案动机。哦，不会又是这个吧？
哦，解谜是什么？又要
这个要干嘛？我现在看这个要干嘛？
你在转一个奇怪的圈圈。
对啊，他要我干嘛？我不知道现在要我干嘛。
那个应该是锁吧，要开锁。
哎，等一下，我刚看到一个东西。
他上次那个转锁超好笑的。
我可以推开3个。哦。哦。哎，然后嘞，就开始这里。
然后再往左。
干，我忘记了。我忘记我刚刚顺序是什么了。这样吗？然后过来吗？然后再过去。哎，不对。
2232。左边先2232。
哦，3。哦，我知道了。4，1、2、3、4。再回来1、2、3、4。1，哎，不对。哎，游戏卡住了。
22335。
对，22335。3，那现在是5。1、2、3、4。哦啊，应该是223355。它全部都拿掉。1、2、3、4。
好酷哦，这个机关。
解开了 ，nice。我开始被转一下，他到底在干嘛？信件，请问我付你钱是来给我变富不
那
是？
中间那个越来越大，很白目，很好笑。
我被授权的。龙之哲，果然是跟这个圣心迪迦有什么关系？没有任何权利持有。记住，1889年7月14号，等一下一定要去调查这个1889年7月14号的案子。
然后等下就是跟这个日期有关的人物是吧？
这回我们挚爱的姐妹们，他们不是你的妹妹。1889年6月14号，刚是7月14，先变6月14。
所以跟14号有关的人。
而且这个是圣辛迪加的写的，我们挚爱的姐妹，应该是指这些植物。这个圣辛迪加挚爱的姐妹们，应该是指植物。也是蛮奇葩的。
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
牛津街套房租金，伦敦大学教育经费。为什么有这个裁缝跟这个奢侈宝商啊？他到底是那个女生到底是做了什么事情？
就是个有钱人嘛。
不是啊，他是借钱他是借钱。哎，给走啊！我身边挡路啊！
干嘛这样嫌弃他啦？
不是，他会挡路
他就这样啊。
没有看那个镜子是这样啊。走开。
你把他推开啦。好好笑啊！还要出来然后才能进去。
别挡！好啦，我们去找怀那个玛格丽特。有人外道门。
Locked.
Locked， 然后就开了。又用我们的鹰眼了。实验台。啊，这应该是那个女生。
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks. so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. But we need a good nose.
那只狗好蠢哦！别啊，找来托比真的。
为什么那只狗很蠢？它不是很可爱吗？你就跟着那个走啊。
我觉得他们两个动作很蠢啊。
你说都是蹲下，然后摸摸它这样子类似的动作。
对对对。
A botany book.
A botanical. Botanical.
A This student's book belongs to Albert.
Albert. 哎，我以为做实验室那个女生哎。
不是
The employee's cloakroom.
不是啊，因为刚刚他有讲说那个女生一直有在做实验呢。哎，哎，本来有一件不见了。
Such masks are gloves.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
有一件在我们刚刚后面有一个火坑，发现它被烧掉了。
Lock.
Holmes.
哦，
开锁喽，呵呵。哎，要怎么开？我忘记了。
你发现了什么东西？你发现了某个线索。
有点要怎么用？你忘记了？哦，这样子，对对对。
哦，我觉得这个谜团的东西好磕哦。
看看。哎，对啊，这应该会连在一起的。拿下来。对，中间这个可能要换。不对。哦。哎，进不去了。哦，有了，进去了。不对，不是这个。嘿嘿。两个都不对啊。啊，这个，哎，进去。哈哈哈哈
Open.
Open， 这样它是芝麻开门是不是？喊 Open 就开了。
Miss White.
怎么 Open 啊？那这个我觉得各种机关真的很酷。
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student. A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
要钱喽！哎，这就是珠宝盒。这珠宝盒就是那个。
These jewels must.
刚刚他借钱去买珠宝的。
那个吧，就是一个怎么讲，就是那种虚荣心的。
你看，又是很贵的钱包。是你让我们感到羞耻 ，Your parents。开始命名了。对，信件。你忠实的仆人，哇！工具人出现啦！
工具人出现。
Martin Hamish's locker. Father and I, Kew Gardens.
Kew Garden。哦，所以这个 马丁很久之前就已经在这里了。
A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces.
好，有个东西跳出来，我把它关掉。好，继续。千秋秘书长先生，我相信你。看看这个要权力的。
Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
马丁也会做实验。到底是谁在做实验呢？太多人了吧
Albert's locker. A rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
他爸一定要他丢在球员，所以他蛮不爽的。很酷。
Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea.
Shipbuilding and the sea. 哦，这里
Young Albert, standing with a woman in front of London University.
这是谁啊？哎呦，看来我们要去跟妹子讲话了，出发。好像是穿过这个，诶，还是这里？
Nursery
不对
locked.
，lock。给资讯啊，没资讯。New Gardens， 好用我的英文呢。
A glasses case. It is empty.
是马丁的。
A thesis written by Martin Hamish. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office.
嗯，
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
哦，
This poster is for an exhibition that Martin Hamish was directing, but it had nothing to do with Kew Gardens. This certificate belongs to Martin Hamish. He won a horticultural competition.
Martin Hamish。
These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
哎，这从哪里啊？哎，雕像，破掉的雕像，这应该是我捡到的那个碎片的地方。这里，
I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place. Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. It is a bust of Montague Dunn.
这样。好，抓到了哦。
The seeds of plant species are stored here.
“华生，走开！”
Locked.
哦，等下这是哪里啊？哦哦，我知道在哪里了。来
Seed
了，育种室，
open.
妹子，我来了。玛格丽特·怀特。
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
我看到他的这个，可能呢，昂贵的香水。手受伤了，是不是？贫困家庭。哎，少了一个。指甲吗？不是。哪里啊？怎么最后一个线索我找不到？哦，这里。未婚。
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
这些人态度都
Oh,
很
it's
奇怪。
quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss. After the tragedy that took place here.
每个都是凶手。
The director was a truly
这些
good
人
man.
都漠不关心哎，
It is such
这
a
主任死
terrible
在这边，他们就说
misfortune.
啊我忘了，或者是什么没有很在意。东西被偷了说啊我都忘了，才2-3天前的事情了耶，太夸张了。
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No.
主任是个好人，死了真是个不幸。
指明是被清空，没有一个人知道哎，全部人都说他们在忙，太扯了吧。
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
你这负债累累的拜金女。
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
这个哦，
He was
我
a
觉得啦，
master, a great leader.
现在的线索看起来他就
I saw
是
him almost as a spiritual
拜
father.
金女，而且负债累
He
累。
had an exceptional nature.
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
圣行
The
家
Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
这圣心底家应该是那个马丁参
Most
加
of
的
the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
上文。这不是走路好笑，一块就是走路很大步的感觉。
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. Materials for college study. They belong to Albert. These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office. A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
该不真是走错地方来分析线索了。开除怀特。研究外来植物。哦，好远的线索。好，目前现有线索是这样子。
连起来喽！
接下来我们要去调查，跟艾伯特讲话。来跟马丁讲话。好，走。哇，这花园也太大了吧，走起来好累哦。那跑步好憨哦。马丁，来，告诉我那半身像。
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken.
怎么又是他？他到底
This room is so
别
small.
再说谎啊，马丁！
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently. Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for
所以你确定是他啊？
我不确定是他，这不是这个人到底是不是凶手，我不知道。但是这个人一定是有隐藏什么事情啊，他都是问他
I
他
do
怎么
not
不讲。
think so. This photograph of you
哦
and your
反正他
father
知道
at
什么
Kew
事就
Gardens
对了。
suggests
对他都
the
不讲啊
opposite.。
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British
Indeed.
Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life.
果然他爸
He
以前
brought
在
me
那
in
边
at
工
the
作。
age of 12.
Did he get on well
我觉
with
得他
Mr.
是
Dunn?
凶手。
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. For Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. And as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant
Master
nothing
of
to my
Kew
father.
Garden.
So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
来啦，想当兵是不是？艾伯特。
I
想加入
perceive
海
that
军
you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
案情扑朔迷离。艾伯特有杀他父亲动机。这个绝对不是艾伯特的动机，但是好像到这种程度。
2个衣服。
好，拜拜。
拜。
哥哥，哥哥。
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens. That is not the one. Here it is. And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn. If I go there...
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
Let us find someone who could help us.
这老头也太夸张了。太中式了吧？
嗨，好了。
你看我到了一个激发的地方。
哇，好漂亮啊！
太中式了吧，这个地方。
哦，这个哦，你刚刚那个破了是吗？
没有，我就跟他讲完话，然后呢，去看那个看报纸，1889年是什么事件，然后是辛迪加丑闻，然后有辛迪加的地址，所以我就来辛迪加这边了。
我记得我之前好像有说过，他说有一个地图就超级中式，很漂亮的。看来你可能快进入尾声了。
I am exalting the sap. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance.
你能等一下吗？
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis.
这个讲谁好好笑啊
Welcome you are. To introduce myself, I am the Green Grand Mystic.
Green Grand
The Green
Mystic.
Grand Mystic himself.
Green Grand Mystic.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
打头来，刺青 ，Tattoo。手，
你的花盆，
指尖老茧，酸烧伤化学实验啊，它跟化学实验有关系。
We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate, glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it. Yes.
Yes.
We visited Kew Gardens, and we found your symbols on their flower pots.
Coincidence, I am thinking. They would scavenge our refuse. It would not surprise me.
It was merely an observation.
来哦，考试
Green
喽！
Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
这我还不知道吗
Our God King's name is Treewan,
Treewan.
Green Grand Mystic.
Oh la, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation
这
can
个
make
问
one
题就
use
是考
of
就
it.
是通过考试了。
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course,
Raw sap, it is called. It is near the entrance.
好扯哦。
well, we will leave you to your meditation.
这是说什么？肥料在门口附近。这里吗？哇，真的是蛮漂亮的这里。有东西。
A fragment of a flower pot. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
Oh.
The Kew Gardens symbol.
Oh. 在秋园找到这边的花盆，然后在这边找到秋园的花盆，太奇葩了。
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
怎么样，像毒品哦？
It is rather delicious, and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
果然是毒品。太霸气了。
This must be Treewan, the Divine Syndicate's god.
Praise the grand tree. Praise it.
The list of plant friends and benefactors, lawyers, well-known manufacturers, political leaders.
勇气。怎么都是写勇气啊？
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
咦？咦？哎
A tropical plant. A tropical.
哎，这些东西怎么那么眼熟？
A tropical. A trop.
这是不是失窃的植物啊？
A tropical. A trop. These 3 plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
我们是真的超级小偷哎、
他就可以拿到很多东西，就很不知道怎么做到了。
不是，他就直接拿走哎、真的是小偷哎、哟，这种烟雾弥漫，刚刚有这样子吗？
This must be Triwan, the divine syndicate's god.
你也不是第一天认识他了，就是到处拿就对了。
又要开锁了哦，旁边有一个在那边，然后我在他面前开锁，太大胆啦、啊！啊，走着。哦，可以先拉开。哦。对。对。长边，长边，长边。嗯。接上。开门啦！
我一直突然打喷嚏，好烦哦。
喝点水，喝点热水。嘿，别地方。
温喝烫的，你怎么又在转这个啊？怎么到处都是这种锁啊？
谁知道？
刚不是才转完一个吗？
This cabinet is full of chemicals. They are the same as the ones we found in the laboratory at Kew Gardens.
嗯。有问题，需要注意的目标。
That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments. A vast amount of opium.
勇气，蝉，太宗花。 对，它顺序是什么？
各种中国用语。
太中花鸟以阴兰塞外风，沙游日寒夜听胡，嘉泽杨柳，叫人意气意长安。这什么诗？
你咧讲？
我在看他那个上面写的。
外国人果然不懂中文吧？
找出圣辛迪加的秘密。
哎，那是？
对啊，应该是哪一首诗吧？异常啊，一定是哪首诗？
哎，我听过李白写的吧？对啊，真的有异常安啊！
不好意思，少了一下中二。敲锣喽！
打？
我打啦。
没有打。
我打了，还有声音。
哦，我把声音关掉了。
没有，我们发现他秘密是有什么对话啊？对，去跟他讲话。老头，又来找你了。你这边有秋园的花盆。
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not way there.
秋园的标志。再来一个有标记的花盆，秋园标志。
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search? Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the
Right.
exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole theirs.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
哦，好犹豫哦，要选哪一个啊？他说除了致命植物，哎，看一下致命植物有什么？被偷的东西。山桑食人草，毛毛虫，他们偷的。
找到凶手了。
是他们偷了，偷走了一切。哇，马上就得出结论了，太夸张了。不行，先去找其他的东西。好，走。Go，秋园。 我们去证实一下那个毒药是哪里来的。
嗯，
我们带狗狗去闻啊。
呵呵呵。哦，好可爱啊！
哎，读太久了吧？这个图读太久了。
可以看整理一下你的那个笔记什么的。
没关系，我都印在
Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance.
我觉得今天你玩它 loading 都有 loading 蛮久的。
Search.
对啊，好奇怪。这狗真的跑很慢。我开门喽！哎，这次的那个味道怎么那么颜色那么恶心啊？他说是有人带在身上的样子。这个干嘛绕一大圈啊？
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found. This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here. There is still a tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of the bottle.
一定要有狗才会看得到的人。
又要去分析了，要回去要读图了。读图。
毛毛虫。
他有讲说，他们那些花都需要用那个毛毛虫去刺激。那所以我们刚刚从那个辛迪家那边就找到那些毛毛虫，所以我才说他们就是失窃的那些有毒植物，在他们在那个辛迪家的花园都有找到。
哦。
但是有可能还有其他猪，所以我们要确定一下。希望这次的证据很有关键性，不要像上一次一样。
Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle.
吸。好，接下来干嘛？
A colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
Holmes?
It has a bitter taste.
What is poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
So, what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens.
它本来就怪怪的。
点火。
无论如何，附近有一个医生，因为有华生在，所以喝这完全没问题。
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are.
Holmes,
do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes. I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent.
然后跟什么东西融合在一起就会怎样
And
怎
then I
样
shall
子。
tell you. I need to take a
吸。哎，都点不到。变红色了。
red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
那是肥料哎。从化学实验室，哎。
According to the deadly plant's information, in order to perform our experiment, we will need fertilizer and food. Caterpillars should do nicely.
我有毛毛虫。
According，
哎，它需要什么东西？需要证据，我需要叫什么？生物碱，是我知道去秋园是不是？哎，我知道去秋园还是新底价？
问你啊。
可以有这东西我没什么印象啊。他依照他刚刚讲法，应该是肥料才对。我要一点肥料。毛毛虫有了，那肥料我是要去哪里？新底家刚那个说有一个很新的东西，然后那个是骨科碱，所以我是要去新底家那边吗？哦，困惑。先去他们的化学实验室看看。没有，没东西可以拿。实验台，哎，有实验台。
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
哎。
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
你可以放来听吗？
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report. I don't hear.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
需要证据。我知道去哪里了。新迪加，新迪加，新迪加。不是这个，不是这个，走开。
That would be.
来了，这应该有。
This substance is an perfect one.
耶，可以做实验了。好，回。
就拿到了。
果然跟我想的差不多。在那个辛迪家那边。我觉得做实验超难的，我真的是每次做实验都做好辛苦。哎，到错地方了！啊！崩溃，我选错地方。崩溃！老师，你在干嘛？老师，你在干嘛
？This green, what should?
打太极。
啊，你去辛迪家回来，怎么变这样子啊
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
影响太深了。
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
Alkaloid 感觉是酒精哎，是吗？还是 alcohol？ 诶
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This is a strange... a carnivorous... a prickly... My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. I am interested in what might occur if the prickly plant should shoot at it. It appears it closed again. I believe I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. I am interested. It appears It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud. I wonder what's... I am interested.
要怎么用啊？
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. My word.
你怎么吃啊？想想。
No reaction.
要怎么样让这个啊？我在干嘛？刚刚位置。对，然后
My
去吃上面吗？
my
我想一下啊，要让这个去刺它。
How interesting. What a strong and effective defensive mechanism. I am interested. Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
有了，成功了。
你终于
The
试
plants
验
would be
成功
capable
了。
of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
好，下一步。走，球员。他说跟所有嫌疑犯，那我是不是也要去新迪家？怀特小姐的确有这个知识啊。看一下图。留声机。我们在留声机看一下。
Study report.
Martin Hamish's perception of plant.
哦，他不知道哎，是马丁知道的。看起来凶手都要指向这个马丁呢。 线索都要指向他了。
就是那个不说话的。
不说实话。
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
这马丁一开始就讲，他跟心理家可能有点关系，然后接下来他们说的这攻击方式是用他们要清楚那个知道攻击的防卫机制。那马丁的研究里面有这个研究。
哦，那一开始，难怪就觉得一开始好像就是他在那边挥哦，还跟他讲那么多
Your
话，跑来
father's
跑
death
去。
does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of a lysis, something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White? What were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
而且他刚刚讲说，他死掉的地方是在那个殖民地的那个植物园，只有在马丁的办公室看到那个植物。
Nursery.
对，这看得见。
We can see the interior of the colonial collection room from this window.
是内部。
Seed house. Can you tell me what Mr.
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
9点10分。
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory.
没有买一点
After that,
小
he ran out in the direction of the
小东西
nursery,
吃，
where Mr. Hamish was working.
不
He
想
was
吃
always
面
in
包
a
就不
rush
想吃
during the
面包。
inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert to Mr. Hamish from the large glass house. I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
Thank you, miss.
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
9点10分。
不要！
有点出入哎。
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but we already... well...
通风系统。
The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the...
All right. We have...
从哪里看通风系统？
According to...这里。 The power is on. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working.
Now we need to see if we can activate the fans.
好累哦，跑来跑去的。
Nursery. This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system. We can see the interior of the colonial collection. This is... Excellent. This ventilation fan is... This is one of... Perfect. Now I...
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
好烦哦，谁是凶手啊？
所以还没那个哦。
现在是不知道到底是教派是凶手，还是哈米森，还是马丁是凶手，两个都有嫌疑。但是能进行中毒的应该是马丁哈米森，好，我逮捕他。 就决定是你了。走，逮捕。一教派讨厌那个 Dunk， 但是好像不至于到杀他。
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait.
Few minutes later.
我想去买一点东西吃好了。经过一段时间，现在才看到。
Few minutes later.
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
大温室，哪里呀？哎，温室。是这里吧？
Nursery.
嗯，不是。
Dry.
华生别挡！
Watch.
你最常说的就是华生别挡路。
温森政府很会挡路哎。
没办法，就跟在后面走啊。
Holmes, my
What
God!
the?
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Mr. Hamish realized
No.
that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
诶，上吊了。
What the?
哇，伸展开哎！是然后查他被谋杀吗？还是怎样？
不知道，看一下资料，不确定。我不得不这么做。嗯。
Holmes, his left shoe.
A club.
要找出他共犯。
最确定他是凶手了。
他一定是凶手啊，但是他应该有共犯。
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
所以你刚好有选那个马丁是那个犯人嘛？
Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing
哦
Cross.
然后所以他才会
I should have noticed it.
那个自杀啊。
Mr. Holmes,
就
I
是他
can't see
太阳
why.
去逮捕他，然后就他被
No,
发
I
现
don't，suppose you
然后
do.
发现他们这
You must recall that Mr. Dunn was
Yeah.
locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable.
啊，我先去买一点东西好了。啵啵。
Correct. Mr. Hamish.
Possibly in a
I haven't. Thanks to the test.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case. The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
Martin Hamish. Hamish. 嗯。
阿姨，回来了。
我卡住了。
又卡住了，怎么了？
马丁啥意思？去育种房。重排一下。马丁·汉密森跟在9点半的时候，他们去见了艾伯特。大概10点20时，我觉得这时间是不是有点错误？9点20啊，对啊，10点20。20左右去了后院，对啊，去了后院。10分钟后，邓恩重新，应该是这样没错。马丁·汉密斯在10点的时候和怀特小姐聊了一下，他一直待到10点40，咱们加入他们。他们反正当时10点30左右，10点30左右，这边就已经不对了。整个早上都在狱中室，在10点10分时看到了。他们就卡住了，问号。到底错过哪边啊？
哇，现在还有这种拼时间的东西哦。
对啊。哎，他们说他们一开始在育种，艾伯特早上在育种室。作为中间这段时间，我想跳过了，我卡住了，
又要跳过了。
我真
哦，这是游戏哦，
就是像我刚刚解锁一样啊。
哦，就是一个时间轴游戏就是了。
我卡关了，是时间我没摆错啊，奇怪。我跳过了，还是要查一下。可以帮解题吗？
我不知道你一开始是怎样，所以我也没办法。
一开始是这样子啊。
就是其实我的荧幕很朦胧。马丁汉在9点半去育种房见了艾伯特，所以马丁跟蒙塔古还有艾伯特9点半的时候在育种房。
对啊。
然后大概10点20左右，你的字挡到了第2行了。什么哈什米汉去了后院？
去了后院啊。10分钟后就是10点半嘛。邓恩重新开始检查，进入了热带干燥室。马丁·哈密森回到了育种室。这边就打结了啊，10点半这边就打结了。
为什么？
因为这边写说10点20的时候他们去了后院，然后10点半的时候邓恩就去干燥热带室了，因为10分钟后嘛，10点20，10分钟后就10点半嘛，去干燥热带室。但这边呢，哈密森说他发现发现邓恩不舒服的时候去找艾伯特，那时候是10点半。这边10点半就有2个事件了。9点40这边就停住到底为什么？为什么9点40这边就停住？
那个，我觉得那个艾伯特的很奇怪。
为啥？
这个艾伯特怎么只有出现2次？
大家都只出现2次啊，只有那个马丁出现了3次。不是应该说这个事件里面就有很多个人，看这个像艾伯特第一个事件里面就有3个人。这样摆才对，3个人。
这样不对吗？
他就会卡住啊，我不知道为什么。那你到9点40的时候，他就停下来了，
就表示那边不对。
9点40到底为什么要停啊？9点40没有事件啊，那我把这往后拉。9点40到底发生什么事情？
该不会他翻译错误吧？
我也在想，
他应该是每一个时间轴上都要有一个图的意思吧？
不一定啊，因为它时间有重复的啊。我们试试看。
就表示9点40有一件事。
有了，他果然是翻译错误。这应该是这样的。他们2个一起去后院。9点50错了。
因为你看，他如果是照着顺序这样排下来的话，中间那个是10点半，可是后来又回到了10点，不是还蛮奇怪的吗？看，我跟你一起解，你就过关了。
所以他的翻译有问题。
对啊，你之前就说他有一些地方翻译有问题啊。他和怀戴小姐聊天不是10点吗？
对啊，可这边空了一个，不知道什么东西。对吗？是这样吗？
更可能在干燥室吧。
所以就停了。他一个人在后院，不对。
对啊，一个时间轴只会有一个图片。不对。不能加快速度吗？那这样播放好慢的感觉啊。不然把育种室那个拿掉。9点5。
就画了一条红线。所以把时间改掉，大概在9点40的时候，他们去了后院，10分钟后，邓恩开始重新检查，然后他回到育种室。
邓恩在热带室，马丁在育种室，马丁的那个育种室跟他一起吧。
我在想这个。
然后谈完话那个应该是10:10吧。对啊，谈话那在10:10。啊，蓝色那个10:10啦。
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
这个线索完全不知道到底谁才是。刚刚的资料根本没有让我们理解。可以再看这个时间轴，还可以。他跟他一起去。
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that Martin Hamish. Perfect.
很像是他儿子哎。因为这边有一个通风口需要打开，这边有一个通风口需要打开。那
儿子是马丁的儿子哦，
就是邓恩的儿子艾伯特。
他们要杀自己老辈啊！天哪，太可怕了。
我觉得很像哎，因为虽然说这女生也有时间去锁这个门，他们3个都有够时间锁那个门吗？我看一下，不对。马丁时间不够，他们这时候在对话，然后他爸到这边，他儿子这时候可以去锁那个门。
Let us summarize.
他说他在10:10的时候有看到那个
inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted.
伦理关系上应该算像是女生，但从那个东西看起来比较像是他儿子。 他没有足够的知识。哎，他说是320号哎。
Here it is. Cylinder.
果然320号。
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long.
看起来就是他儿子了。艾伯特有研究过吗？去人物肖像那边。
Nursery. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room. Material. A book. These.
好困惑哦，到底是谁啊？没有足够的资讯告诉我答案是谁。
This is a table.
Only this one is kept in good order.
怎么这次的那个越来越多啦？
到底是艾伯特是共犯，还是怀特是共犯啊？
就看你要不要接受伦理咯。
到底谁才是共犯啊？两个人都很像是。
哦，所以你找到所有线索了。
怀特是怀特，怀特就是你。
为什么？
因为怀特还有金钱上的方面的问题啊。
哦，
你那个我们不是有看到那个吗？艾伯特一直说他会，我刚刚突然看到那封信，我突然想起来，艾伯特说他会继续资助他。那艾伯特需要继续资助他，他就必须接管这一个，这个那个球员。所以那个马丁不是才说他最近开始非常认真吗？因为艾伯特迷恋怀特，所以他需要接管球员，才有足够的经济。
哦，又是一个爱情故事。你说就是那个很爱花钱的那个女的？
对，所以我要审判她。我赦免了，审判。来吧，怀特。
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining: the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of
好
women
可怜哦，大家都因为他
are
死
a
了。
mystery to me. But she is a
真的。
bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
来吧，怀特。
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
看到背影会有一种女扮男装的感觉，男
It
扮女
was
装讲
Martin
错了。
Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
又来了，拿枪，拿枪！
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
嘿，
Please remain calm.
华
We
生
can
要
help you.
表现了
One
吗
step？ further. Don't try to stop me.
他手上拿的是什么东西？
那毒药吧。
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
哎，哎，哎，我没按到吗？
This is tragic, Holmes.
Are you able to do anything?
I'm afraid not. The poison has been fulgurating. Her heart stopped instantly, poor child.
你好像没按到什么东西。他死不死有差吗？
我想看看。
哎，它不是有绿色还是红色？你的哎，绿色的。
所以我是答对了吗？
应该算是吧。
他前面那个绿色红色我都搞不清楚状况，因为他每次都把它讲的好像我都是答对的一样。
应该是说适合的答案跟比较不适合的答案那样子。
那上一张，
上一个不是
上一张还是
上一个不是也是绿色吗？没有，之前跟你一起玩的时候有一个不是也是
红色啊，有一张我是红色。我有一张是红色的啊，可是他那个我在终局前他也是讲的，好像我都是对的，所以就讲。
应该是说有，就说他是有更好的答案那种感觉吧。最佳答案。
这个嘛，你看结论，引导这边，所以你看我一定是答错了，因为你看以同样方式结案的时候5%而已。你看这边这两个我都是红的。
But
我要再来一次。
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
再按一次。
跳过。
Well done, Watson. She was not faking.
Miss White, you have no right to take your own life.
Dr. Watson? Did you just save me?
对，发生什么事情？好像跳过不该跳过的东西。换了。啊，不管了，接受决定。个性排名是联名的，最后一张，这是最后一张了吧？
好像是吧。
最后一张，最后一张，好累哦，想休息了。一直在动我脑袋。
Where are you going, Holmes? Have you been invited somewhere?
We have been invited, Watson.
We have? Where to?
To the Baker Street Irregulars' annual dinner. They sent us an invitation. It is on the table.
A dinner? How could those street urchins afford anything like that? I can't understand your interest in them, Holmes. They're dirty. They wouldn't hesitate to steal your wallet. They...
Watson, you should be excited. It is a secret dinner. Its location changes every year. Read the menu. Sounds mouth-watering.
All right. We, the secret police of Baker Street, invite you, Sherlock Holmes, and Dr. Watson to our annual dinner. Menu, entree, frozen rat head salad. Is this a joke?
Not at all. Pray continue.
Main course, sow's udder in Danny Nutcracker's way. Ah, sounds disgusting, Holmes. Hedgehog goulash. Street turnips in homemade juice. And it goes on.
Ah, I can hear them on the stairs now.
Oh, we can't go there. We can't eat that.
Watson, you'll hurt the feelings of those poor children. We have to go.
Oh, Mr. Holmes.
It is fine, Mrs. Hudson.
Mr. Holmes!
Wiggins, Dr. Watson is getting ready. He will be delighted to join us. You don't look well, my young man. Is there something wrong? Don't tell me the dinner is cancelled.
Mr. Holmes, it's my brother Leighton. He's in a prison cell. They say he's killed 2 men. You have to help us, Mr. Holmes, because I know he didn't do it.
Where is he now?
From what I've heard, they took him to the yard, and they gave him a good beating already. You know what they're like. They'll hang him. They won't look any further.
Holmes, we have to help him.
And forget about the dinner? Wiggins, I'll take the case.
You're fantastic, Mr. Holmes. I'll be waiting for you at the crime scene. You'll be there, right? It's on Half Moon Street in Whitechapel.
Very well.
Very well. 好，我决定，真的。